Make it happen while you still got a chance.
We rolling?
Make it happen.
Wait, oh, you're rolling. Chris, you good back there too? All right. Okay, good. All right. Well, I was just dinking around. Welcome to season 2 of Make It Happen. My name is Dan Bracken.
And I'm John Whirledge.
This podcast is for any church creative who might have a creative idea and they're feeling a little stuck. We want to help give you a framework for making things happen. I really hate when people look at me and they say, Dan, you're so creative. I'm just not that creative. Like, that's bullcrap because everybody's creative. I'm just being human, right?
Right.
I think everybody is a collection of their micro decisions throughout the day that eventually accumulate into who a person is.
Yeah.
And so we are all creative, and we are in pursuit of innovation for the church. Sometimes I think the church gets a little bit stuck, a little bit behind, and by the time we catch up, the world has already moved past what we're working on.
Yep.
So, and we're excited to dive in.
I think it's an opportunity for us to embrace our weakness too. I mean, you were just saying like, I'm human, but we all are. And especially like recently in my devotions, I was reading about that idea from Paul that there's power in our weakness and that we are empowered in our weakness because then it puts us in a place to rely on the Holy Spirit. And I think that's something that even in the church we can lose sight of. And so I think that's important for us to keep at the forefront of the decisions we make and the creative decisions that we try to implement and all those things, just to remember that the Holy Spirit is the one leading us through this. And so I love how you say that it's a chance for us to be human. It's a chance for us to just step out and see what God's going to do through it.
I think one thing we are challenged to do in the church is to reward failure.
Yep.
Right. We're afraid to fail.
Yep.
Right. I think the biggest hurdle that we have to come over as creatives is to fall victim to hesitancy, to fear, to our vulnerabilities and insecurities and weaknesses, and thinking it's not worth it, so I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But I love that, man. That in our weakness, God is made strong, right?
Yeah.
And so as we depend on God with our creative ideas, we should have nothing that holds us back.
Yep.
Nothing should hold us back. We've got no reason other than to just dive in and see what the output is.
Yeah. Well, as we were prepping for this, we're talking about Thomas Edison. It's like the guy tried to create a light bulb and somebody asked him, what'd you learn? He goes, well, I learned 10,000 ways not to do it. I don't know if that's completely accurate, the quote, but it's the idea that it's like, well, you found 10,000 ways that don't work to find the one that did.
Do you have a greatest failure? Creative failure?
Which one?
Too many to count. 10,000 light bulbs.
Yes, right.
Yeah. I think I can feel the same when it comes to graphic design. You know, when, especially year after year, when cultural practices change, the technology changes, there's so much subjectivity in art. And so what I think is a success, somebody else might look at and say, that's dumb, you know, or something that I think is dumb, somebody else could look at and say, man, this changed my life. And I have a hard time measuring it sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think the helpful measurement is to not always look to the outside result of it. And it's just, you know, are you being faithful with your gifts?
Sure.
And are you creating because that's what God put in you to create? And you're not necessarily creating. I mean, I understand like you freelance certain things. So like you do create for a specific outcome, but at the same time, it's just inherent in us as creatives to create.
Right.
And so being able to separate that mindset of, oh man, how is this being evaluated, to really just putting it through the lens of, am I putting my best effort into this and is it pleasing to the Lord? Because that's at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. That's right. So I think kind of framing it that way, not trying to over spiritualize it, but at the same time, like we got to keep that at the forefront of everything we do.
Yeah, that's right. And I think my art for me is going to look different than my art for others, you know, and my art for God will even look that much more different. And you're right, just to embrace what's coming out of you and don't hold it in. Let it out.
Yep.
Let it out. To that end, we have some guests with us in the studio today. We've got the two frontrunners of our Ginghamsburg Worship experience with us today, Emily Schulte and Chris Wingfield. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
We're doing great.
Yeah, that's good.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be on the Make It Happen podcast. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you
I feel
for
like
having
super
me.
official.
Welcome.
Yeah, we are official. We have millions of viewers.
There's millions of listeners right now.
Yes.
Wondering.
Millions of viewers.
Millions.
So you have been working on a creative project ahead of this Christmas. It is an EP. First of all, what does EP stand for? Because I don't know.
Yeah, EP stands for extended play. It's good for like new artists breaking out into whatever genre that is to do an EP. Because with an EP, you're not strapped to a certain style. It's the opportunity to put a little variety on the project, see what happens, whatever begins to take off, then you kind of start leaning in that direction. But an EP is, like I said, it's normally about 30 minutes. You don't want to go any longer than that. If you go any longer than that, you're now into an album. So we try to keep it under 30 minutes and just give a little variety on it. So this year we decided to go with the EP.
Yeah. So how many songs are on the EP?
There's a total of 4. We have 4 songs this year. One was one we released last year. Thank you all for going out and streaming and purchasing that. Hope is Here. So we actually add that to 3 other new ones for the EP this year.
That's excellent. Yeah, and Emily, I'm sure you're featuring your vocals on several of these tracks.
Yeah, and lyrics too.
Yeah, you've been singing for a long time. Yeah, tell me a little bit about your singing background and what initially got you into being a vocalist.
Yeah, so I started singing in church, in groups, and I was piano player first. And then when I got into middle school, I started realizing I could sing. I actually was on a radio competition and won, which was super cool. I think it was 93.7 WFCJ. So after that was kind of when I started doing my thing, created a little band in 8th and 9th grade. We did I Can Only Imagine, and that's kind of what kind of catapulted me into being the singer Emily, not the piano player Emily.
Yeah.
And then I was in a touring choir, and that kind of had a really huge influence on my view of church and worship, and that there's so many different ways to worship than what I had grown up in, and just experiencing the Holy Spirit in different ways than I had experienced him before. And then I ended up getting a music degree in vocal performance, did opera for 6 years, and have been in multiple rock bands and worship teams and doing a little bit of everything. So gospel choirs. And so just spending years of leading worship in different places, being a part of different teams, having different experiences, good and bad. And then in 2018, that's when Chris and I teamed up at Declare Dayton at the Dragon Stadium. And that's kind of what brought me back to Ginghamsburg since I'd been here years before that. And we've been doing our thing ever since. So last year was kind of the year that we decided to take the step forward and do this music thing. I think it was the right season, the right time. Hope is Here just came about in a beautiful way. And we're just continuing to birth these songs, and it's just been a really cool experience. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. John, did you know that she was an opera singer?
I did not. That was a new revelation. That's exciting, though.
Chris,
Yeah.
why have we not heard opera from Emily on the stage?
Yeah, we should have an opera Sunday.
We should.
Classical
we really
Sunday.
should.
Tried to get her to do what song was it? It was on "Oh Holy Night." This one
yeah.
big note,
Yeah.
and I wanted her to kind of spin the note a little bit.
Yeah.
She shied
No.
away from it.
I
Yeah.
don't want to scare anyone. You know, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
We want people to come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so tell me about writing. You said you wrote some of the lyrics of the songs that are going to be on the EP, right?
Yeah.
There's another new original song on the EP.
Yeah, so we have
yeah.
a song called Remember that Chris and I wrote. And when we were discussing the theme of this song, it was everything cozy, everything that you want to feel on Christmas. So just being in a cozy house with the fire and cookies and memories with grandma, snow, you know, all the things that make Christmas feel so intimate and warm and fuzzy, and but ultimately, you know, bringing it back to sharing the love of Jesus and celebrating the birth of Christ.
I'll take it back a layer.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at the piano, and I'm like, I really would love to do a country song. What would be a good country vibe that would just be different, something that people wouldn't even expect from Ginghamsburg.
From you.
Right, so I'm playing the piano, and I told Emily, I said, I'm got this country song that I'm thinking of. Start playing the melody to it. I programmed steel pedal guitar on it myself, and then I'm like, this ain't it. So I brought in a guy named Reggie Duncan, phenomenal musician, phenomenal steel pedal guitar player, and he just crushed it. He began to just do his magic on the song. Just brought it to life, paired with the genius of the lyrical content that Emily provided to that song. It is giving you that warm, in a red pickup truck. I stole that from Hallmark. Sorry. Going to grandma's house, it just kind of it pulls you in. It takes you, gives you all the feels.
Smoking the chimney.
So when we were doing the song, I'm like, okay, I got this country song. Who's going to sing it? So I'm like, thinking like I know I want to do have a male vocal on it, and then I had Sophia. She's on our worship team. She was singing. I was actually going to have her sing another song, "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," on this EP, and she was singing. I had her in the back in the studio singing, and I'm like, I think I got another song for you. Her voice is just right. It just is magical with the song. It's married with the song very well. Then I'm like, I need a male vocalist. So John Haller was walking through the worship center one Sunday morning, and he came up the steps, and he was just humming and singing. And I'm like, I bet you he can do this lead. So I pulled him to the side of my office and said, hey, I got a song for you. I said, I want you to learn it. Here's the demo of it. Just learn the song, make it you, have fun with it. If we use the take, we use it. If we not, it's okay. I still want you to try out and do the song. And he came in and he nailed it. I mean, he was texting and asking questions. And that just warmed my heart to see him that invested and want to do well. So John Haller and Sophia are on the record. Remember, like I said,
With the new original music from Ginghamsburg Worship.
Yes.
Well, you played me the demo when it was before you even had the actual pedal steel laid down, and it was just like from the first line, it was like, oh my gosh, like this feels like exactly what you described. Like it feels so. For those of you listening, like coming from just walking into a room and hearing it, it's just like it puts you there, and that's an amazing way to use music to tell a story. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize is how something as simple as remembering being at grandma's house, but then translating that into a song, how it can really transport somebody to a different place. Like, and you played this for me middle of July, I think, was when I heard the demo, and it's like it's super duper hot outside, but it's like, man, I feel like
I'm ready for Christmas.
Right. Yeah. You can smell that fire in the fireplace, and it's like, the warmth of being with your family. It's there. And so kudos to you guys for how, like, I can't wait to hear the finished product of it, because if what the demo translated and how the demo translated, like once it's all finished, it's going to create, like, again, this is kind of strange language in the church space, but like there's magic to it. Like it's something that's special, that's really hard to just like pull out of thin air. But at the same time, like the fact that you guys have been able to create that is really powerful, and it's going to be super meaningful for a lot of people.
It's healing. The lyrics that Emily penned, it takes that journey, or that's why we kind of landed with the title. You kind of helped with that, John. Remember, it's because it's reflecting on the memories, and for some people, those memories are not all pleasant. Some of them, it's going through a tough time, tough season. But the hook of the song is just saying it's not about the presents, it's not about the tree. It's about the love of Jesus. So that, right there, that hook of the song is just hammering, especially with me in this season. It's just really just hammering. Just, hey, keep focused on the love of Jesus. Whatever the memories are, whatever you're reflecting on, just come back to understanding and feeling the love of Jesus in every season.
Yeah. So, okay, remember, original music, Hope is Here, original music.
Yep.
And then there's two other songs, original arrangements, right, of two popular Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about those?
Hark the Herald. Hark the Herald was a journey. It was a journey because it didn't start off as Hark the Herald. I was like, Emily, we need this up-tempo song. We need something that moves. So I'm sitting at the piano and just playing this, just little riff on the piano and just trying to get a vibe going. And she started writing a song called Celebrate. Nothing to do with Hark the Herald. So that's where the song started, on Celebrate. And one of the things I've learned with writing with an artist like Emily is if you don't hit record, all right, she's like AI. She's not going to spit the same thing out twice. So you have to capture
It's gone.
You have to capture.
I don't remember what I did.
So you have to capture the genius when it comes out. So I'm recording, she's singing this, and we playing around with the song, and I'm like, man, all right, I think we got it. And we went in the back to the studio in the back, started working out a little bit more, and I'm like, I think we're working too hard here. And I went and got my hymnal out the back, and Hark the Herald, I'm just hearing it, Hark the Herald. So we flipped. The Celebrate's still gonna come out, but Hark the Herald. So we flipped to Hark the Herald. Then we had another writing session with Ryan. He plays y'all see him on stage sometimes playing the lead guitar. He came. Yeah, he come in with his bass, and we starting to just shed some ideas, playing the bass part on it. We get that laid, feels good. So I think. So I said, all right, it's time to go to the next step, bringing in the drummer. Brought the drummer in, recorded the song on a Friday, got the song home, and I'm like, I don't like it. And I literally deleted all the drums, deleted everything, and rebuilt the song.
Hey, freedom to fail. freedom to fail.
Yeah. And rebuilt the song, different vibe. Like, okay, let's go different direction. It was like swinging just a little bit too much for me. So I kind of really wanted to drive in the kind of the funk feel to it. That hard downbeat.
Yeah.
So brought the drummer back in Saturday, re-recorded that. Brought the Ryan back in, laid the bass. And just kind of went from there. So there's this hook. That Emily came up with on it. You familiar with the Gloria on original?
Yeah.
So she was humming once again. If you don't record her, it's not going to come back out twice. So she's doing it, and I heard it like, oh, like that's pretty cool. Let's get that again. So I put my phone out. I have tons of memos on my phone. Chopped all up. She sing it, put on it. All right, we gotta make that work. Then she started writing this other part. It's called. She was saying, "Well, lift your voice, sing out loud." What's the lyrics? Here to praise Jesus loud. And it's like, that's catchy. So we put that in too. So it's a cool arrangement. I think we have fun.
Well, he was just like, "Hey, let's pull these lyrics out and just." What we've written, just take those words out and put Hark the Herald words. And I was like, okay. So I'm just like, hark the herald angels sing. And I'm just like trying to like fit everything. It's like a mouthful of words. And then it just like slowly we started forming what it is now. But it was kind of cool. The same thing with Silent Night. Just recreating a melody, but still keeping the beauty of the original,
Yeah. Okay. So I love so much about the creative process that you just unfolded there. I want to come back to that, but first I want to talk about Silent Night because you just mentioned Silent Night is the other song on the album, on the EP. Excuse me, not the album.
Right.
It's not an album. It's an
EP.
Yeah.
It did not start off as Silent Night either.
No. Okay.
No.
Well, tell us about Silent Night. Yeah.
What was the song that we started writing first?
I don't remember.
It was about gosh.
I can't remember what it was.
if we were trying to paint the picture of Bethlehem, and just if we start off, what was the perspective of Mary?
Yes, that's what it was.
It's
Yes.
like, what was the perspective of Mary during this time?
Well, different characters.
Yeah.
The perspective of the shepherd boy, the perspective of the wise men and Mary, and kind of taking this journey. And somehow we shifted back to Silent Night, which ended up being awesome. But that's maybe that'll be a future song that we'll do with that idea. But yeah.
Yeah, like I said, none of these started off the way, but that's part of the process. That's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So one thing that Dan and I've been talking about, and we were as we were getting ready for this, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Chris, you can correct me, but this is a indirect quote of something that you've said, is that you don't want to die full, and there's so much in us that's, we want to have all the things, right? We want to take care of our family. We want to do all these things. But yet, as creative individuals, like God has put so much in us that when we die, like when our time is up, we need to like let those things out. And we want to make sure that all those things have left us so that we can put that out for other people. So how does that idea impact and influence your, like, not only your creative process, but just how you live and how you come up with ideas and how you work through things? Because I think that's something for whatever avenue that we're living in. That's something that we all need to hold that tension, because it's like, it's not for us. Like, God didn't put those gifts in us just for us to hang on to them and like hold them tightly. It's something we need to hold loosely and to give to other people and to share with other people. So just how does that influence the way that you think, the way that you process, the way that you build, the way that you share, all those different things?
I've learned that I am not the owner of the gift. Whenever I take the mindset that I'm the owner, I feel like I have creative direction where I should use this gift. It's not my gift. I am just a steward of the gift. And when I create and live from that perspective, now, okay, God, where do you want me to use this gift today? How can I be a blessing to somebody tomorrow? Whether it's writing or playing or producing or mixing, He's given me all these gifts, not for me, but for the kingdom, for the body. So if I hoard these gifts or keep them and say they're mine and I die holding them, I've just been a disservice to so many people, because there's so many people relying on the gift that God has given me, because we work in community. There's things that Emily can do that I cannot do. So if Emily holds on to her gift and I share a gift, I'm missing a piece. So now I'm trying to search for that missing piece. So I have to know the gift that God has given me is a piece for somebody else. Somebody else is relying on me to walk in that gift, to talk in that gift, to be a good steward of that gift. So when I release that gift, it has kingdom written all over it. Because sometimes we'll have a gift and then we'll say, okay, I'm not that good at it. That must not be my gift. No, it was your gift. You were just lazy. You still have to work. You still have to steward and polish and sharpen that gift that God has given you. And we sometimes confuse the two. We confuse that with like prodigies and stuff. Some people are like, that's a small percentage, a very, very small percentage. Some people have that gift and just need a little coaching. They need a little training, and I kind of live that way, knowing it is not mine. I have to give it away. Yeah,
and I'll add to that. Chris does a great job at discipling people, and I've been on many worship teams where I was used. I was put on the platform to lead, but I wasn't poured into, and then I would see other people not be poured into, remain the same, not grow in their gifts, still on the team 15, 20 years later, and no one has ever taken the time to, help them get better and grow and give them more opportunity. And I really, I love what we have here, because I feel like we really are doing a great job at trying to represent Jesus, but just to grow our team. Chris has helped me grow in that area, even with his mentorship, but just, it's not all about me as a worship leader. It's not about me being a superstar or Chris being a superstar. Like, sure, I can sing the songs, but like, it gives me joy to watch somebody else have a moment to be elevated and to be used. And, I don't know. I just think that it's healing. This team has been very healing for me to watch that be, practiced and emulated that way. So yeah, it's definitely a privilege, and I love, all of our team behind the scenes have different levels of leadership and abilities in their gifts. They all have something to offer. They're all on different levels, but like I really we work hard to include our team and allow them to feel like they belong. And that it's not, Emily's the worship leader or Tim's the worship leader or Adina, but like we're all up here leading, we all have one goal, and it's not to back me up or Tim or whoever might be up there, so.
Is that hard to do?
To let other people lead?
Sure.
I mean, it has been, yeah. If somebody is not there yet, but you got to give people a chance. They're never going to learn to swim if they're not in the water.
Yeah, well, it's the freedom to fail. I think it's such a big missing piece of the puzzle in churches today. Is that we're afraid to fail. We're afraid to sound bad. We're afraid to just try something to see whether or not it works. I feel like we have pressure on ourselves to create an excellent plan. It's like we put a lot of focus on the blueprint before we put meat to the bone, right?
I prefer my presence to be felt than seen.
Yeah.
And I kind of live like that, meaning I'd rather see Dan succeed, John succeed, Emily succeed. That gives me joy. That gives me life to see y'all just excel, to see the Make It Happen podcast get over, 100 million streams in downloads. That right there is like exciting. Like, how can I help? How can I be, and it took me years to get to that point because I used to get hurt. And I remember sitting in Denny's, hopefully we're not sponsored, but in Denny's restaurant by myself and just really just feeling hurt. Like, God, how's it that I'm helping everybody else? But it's like, when is my up? When is my turn? And he said, I've blessed you to see all the things so you can be an enabler. Yeah. He said, I need you to enable others. Yeah. Show them the path, show them which way not to go, so he allowed me to see it so I can enable others. Everybody want to be a superstar. Everybody want to be on the road and tour, but then you're like, who going to work the local church? Where are the gifts that's going to help disciple and develop those people? There's so many people God has allowed me to work with and touch, over the years, just to pour out and just to see them just go. But it took me to mature to get to that spot, because I used to be crushed. Like, oh man, like John done went triple platinum, or it's like, hey, I was telling Emily yesterday. I said, oftentimes you'll see the artists have 100,000, 200K followers, and you go to the producer's page, it's like 800. 1,200, and you start feeling some kind of way, like, oh man. But then it's like, no, you actually helped that artist get there. Like, that is an honor. That's a blessing, But
there are many different gifts in the church, right? Though this question is maybe a little more micro focused on music, visual arts, graphic design. Do you think art in the church is undervalued?
Yes, because we tend to demonize what we don't understand, and what that does is it forces creatives to go inward and not express themselves. Because a friend of mine used to tell me this. He says, when people say, "Oh man, that's genius," if they can understand it, it's not genius. When they like, huh? It's probably genius because it takes somebody with that creative mind, that creative space to understand it. But oftentimes when we birth things like that in the church, because we don't have any framework to put them in, we squash it, or we say, oh, no, God wouldn't want that. And so I see that happen all the time, especially when you get into the contemporary traditional wars. We have an excellent lighting director here, Tom Sellers, who God has gifted him with that ability to do that. And if I would stifle that outlet for his creativity, I'm not just shutting down the artistry side of it. I'm actually hindering a gift from being utilized.
Right.
And it's like, wait, God gave that to him. That's why I'm open. Let's embrace it. Let's embrace it. It may look weird. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so somebody might, from the outside looking in, say, oh, Ginghamsburg's making a Christmas album EP thing. Like, oh, they're just trying to make a buck. Right? Because they don't understand,
right?
Maybe we are trying to make a buck for the miracle offering, right?
You literally
talk about that.
We literally have to have a total of 1 million streams to make that buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Not making money.
Yeah.
like, this is not a cash grab.
This is not a
Not
cash
money.
grab. This is not a cash grab. And I mean, people wouldn't understand. I mean, we have like creative gifts that we've used. I think people look at the quality of the photos that our friend Sharon took for the album cover, right? Or the artwork that I do, or you actually played guitar a little bit. Yeah. John recorded some guitar for the EP. We've got a lot of friends who want to offer their gifts for the Lord, because when you are acting out of your giftedness, it's honoring to God, it blesses others, and it brings you joy, right? But I think when people see an effort towards quality, somehow it feels inauthentic. Right. But aren't we created to do our best, with what gift we've been given? And so why can't we do excellent work?
Right.
Why don't people trust excellent work?
This kind of goes. This popped in my brain as you were talking earlier, Chris. But it's that idea of bringing our best and bringing it. Like, I sang in a choir in college, and our director would always say, he's like, we're working on polishing our offering and presenting our best. And then he would throw this little quip out, and he would go, holy shoddy is still shoddy. And so it's that one of the, where, we have to always be mindful of bringing our best. And I think another component of that, and you guys have been talking about it too, is when we are offering our best, it's an opportunity for us to bring others along with us and to model excellence. But then also, Emily, you were talking about it, giving opportunities then for somebody who's maybe not as experienced to have a chance to live into that, and having a chance to see it and a chance to live into it. And
Right.
God deserves good music.
Yeah. Well, so do we.
Right. You know what I'm saying? God deserves good music. Like,
I mean, you
why
could
are we
literally be doing it anywhere else.
right.
Yeah.
And we're doing it right here at Ginghamsburg.
Yeah.
And that's a
Why not?
That's a blessing.
Make it happen.
yeah. It's a privilege, and and everyone gets to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So,
So-
okay, the purpose of the EP. Just talk more specifically about the goals, the desired outcome. Obviously, it's a passion project. It's an expression of where we are today, where you are today as artists. But what do you hope comes of it? I know there's a little bit of desire that it would raise awareness for the miracle offering. You talk about that, but also broad general goals for the EP.
Really, even the release date being November the 18th, it's been my prayer that this project will be healing, because we're in an election year, and we coming off the heels of people just going to be in their feels. Some people are going to be excited, some people are going to be just hurt, feeling lost, and they're going to be searching. And our hope is that, these songs will resonate with them to help with, guide them. Hearing, a song like Hope is Here. Hearing a song like, hey, remember, reflect, it's about the love of Jesus. Hearing like, hey, we're going to celebrate Jesus, loud, then hearing, a silent night, just taking that journey. And the goal is just to hope that this project will just be healing. Some people will ask, why are y'all doing, I call it a novelty album, anything, around Christmas type deal. And one is during Christmas time, people are more acceptable, both sides, to listen to it.
Right.
Because it's Christmas music. Right. You'll hear Silent Night on, Hot 102.3, or it crosses.
Do you have the jingle
over
for that too, Emily?
What? No, I do not know that jingle.
So you will hear it. You will hear it cross over. So it's like there's no time better than to plant that seed of Christ when people who are willingly looking to seek it. Yeah. Because through the summertime, good luck. It's hard to break through.
Chris is 24/7 Christmas all the time.
Christmas music all year.
Yes.
Well, it's also his birthday.
Yeah. And it is his birthday.
Yeah.
Christmas
I
Day.
was born into it. So.
Yeah, you bleed it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
Well, I think something else too that I know this is your guys' hearts in it is if there's one person that hears one of the songs off of this EP and it does exactly that, then it's worth it. Yeah. Like it's given hope to somebody when they couldn't see the light, or remind somebody that, man, Jesus is alive. Jesus has given us hope. And I think that's something that we as members of the kingdom of God, like, that's our ultimate responsibility. That's why we need to be living open-handed with our gifts, is so that we can share that hope and that meaning, that love. And like you said, this season, the Christmas season, is the time where there's so many barriers that get crossed without even blinking an eye, because it's like, oh yeah, it is Christmas. Yeah. Like and there's just kind of that sense of hope and optimism in people, regardless of what else is going on, because it's Christmas and it's about Jesus. And
yeah.
Okay, so to close out our episode, our conversation today, you've promised a short snippet of Silent Night to whet people's appetites. So
I'll play a little bit of it. So when it comes out November 18th, listen to it. Listen to it again. If you don't like it, listen to it again to see if you didn't like it. And then listen to it another time to see, did you really mean what you meant the first time when you listened to it? Then stream it again just for good measure.
Right. And then just share it on your page.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you might want to play it for your mom or your sister, or just get their opinion on it too, and see if they like it, even if you may not like it. Or
just stream it again to make sure that their opinion, was valid. Then stream it again. Right. Yeah.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, exclusive here on Make It Happen, a short snippet of Silent Night, an original arrangement from the Ginghamsburg Worship team. Join us for next episode as we continue our conversation with Chris and Emily just about the creative process behind the creation of this EP, which I presume will be wildly helpful for any creative in the room who is looking to get over their own fears, jump on the ideas that God's put inside of them, and make it happen. Make it happen.
Break the mold. Innovation gonna be bold. Step by step, gonna take control. Gonna make it hard, gonna make it roll. Technology, we don't like the change. My technology, it's way too strange. AI, VR, AR, Web3, it's all just scary to me. Technology, we don't like the change. But here they come. Didn't John break the mold? make it